Welcome to the first episode of the Lions Lead Media podcast. This is where we delve into stories of strength, leadership, courage, and community impact. My name is Jared. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and Social Media for My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. And in case you're not aware, Lions Lead Media is the media outlet for My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. And today, on the very first episode of the podcast, we have none other than the founder and president of My Brothers Keeper 54 with me, Van Black.
Hi.
And we're going to be exploring the origins of the organization, the mission, and also the vision driving our initiatives. So, with that being said, who is Van Black Jr.?
A guy. It's like James Bond. No, Van Black Jr., that doesn't even sound right. Yeah, Van Black Jr. is a man, a brother, a father, a husband, a son, an uncle. I mean, I'm a lot of things.
Man of many hats.
Yeah, I'm a lot of things. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I think we are going to get into that. That being said, discuss what is your inspiration behind starting My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc.? Where did that come from? How did that come about?
Story time.
Story time.
Okay, so My Brothers 54 Inc. In its short form, it came about developing, wanting to develop a space for men to be able to connect with each other, uplift each other, empower each other. Pretty much just overall men's space. That's what it was in the short form. When I was a drill instructor years ago, but when I was a drill instructor, I realized I was sitting down and I was, as a senior drill instructor, we were doing guided discussions. It's called VBT, value-based training, with recruits. And I sat down with them and we were talking about something, and then it dawned on me at one point that I never had that, right? Aside from when I was a recruit going through recruit training, but me being at the forefront of that and then looking at the recruits and how they were taking in what we were talking about, it resonated with me, and I was like, wow, this is something that might be needed everywhere. So,
And VBT?
Value-based training.
Value-based training. For those that don't know, non-military, what is VBT?
So value-based training is where we sit down and we discuss things like topics, right? So say, for instance, it's a scenario, right? They give you a scenario and it identifies your values, values, things that are unique to you. How would you handle the situation? How could you have handled the situation? And then within that, it turns into a Socratic type method of discussion where everybody is sitting and you learn something from this recruit probably learned something from that recruit. And I, as the drill instructor, I'm learning something from everybody as they're learning from me. So it's to instill, again, like the Marine Corps' core values, honor, courage, commitment, right? Our core values here, My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. is strength, courage, leadership. So it's one of those things, right, where how does those values impact you? So value-based training is simply just that, instilling. It's a place and a time where we instill values into those members.
So it sounds almost like a peer motivational
100%.
Discussion.
100% guided, like we said, guided discussions. You get a scenario and you take the masses and then you give them the scenario and you let them talk amongst themselves. You allow them to agree, you allow them to disagree, right? And you, as the drill instructor, you become the mediator. It's that simple. I mean, it's pretty dope, actually.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
So was that the inspiration, or was that the one experience that kind of fueled the idea and the concept from?
Yeah, that was that one experience that kind of led me to the thought process, and then I start really looking back on my life and the role models that I had and that I did not have, right? The role models that I had or the lack thereof. I looked at that and then was like, either you can continue to talk about the change that's needed, or you can be the change that you want to see. So I quickly became the change that I wanted to see and put my thought processes together, and My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. came about.
Here it is.
Yeah, here it is.
And this podcast is a direct result of that.
Absolutely.
Aside from having a vision to start a nonprofit, you needed to recruit like-minded individuals to support and run the organization. What was that process like?
Hard? No, it's not hard. It was a no-brainer. Actually, it was easy, man, because I had the people that's in the military. Some of the guys, all the board members now. I had a lot of people that I can choose from, but it was more so being strategic in who's going to really be honest with you. One, who's been with you since who's been honest with you since you've known them. I have a lot of people, but more importantly, who's here, right? Who's present in the state that I can reach out to and I know, okay, they're going to be active. So that's how it started. I started reaching out to people, but again, my brother, he's in Texas, so he was like one of the first ones. I was like, all right, cool. But then after that, I was like, all right, in order for us to establish it here, I need people that's present. So, and that's just, it was an easy pick up the phone. So I called Torrance, who is the trusted advisor. I called him. Hey, look, man, this is what I'm thinking. He was like, hey, I'm with it. I called TJ, who started out as a trusted advisor, right? So yes, Timothy Bell, he started out as a trusted advisor, and then eventually moved into the position as vice president.
Right.
Man, my son was even on it at a point. Like my son was in it, and then he was like, yeah.
I didn't know that.
So as far as formation goes, my son is he's as our formation. He was formed on paper as a director of youth services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like he even got involved in it during the formation of it. But then as we start to grow, and I start to realize, okay, this is what we're doing. So he still has a title, but of course, kids, man. So he's active. He is active. But that's how it turned out. So one thing led to another, and then I met you by accident.
It was entirely by accident.
By accident.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, God don't make mistakes. So it's a reason why I met you.
I couldn't agree with you more. So the mission and vision of My Brother's Keeper 54. What is the organization's goals and future plan for that?
All right. So in its simplest form, our goal is to just build community, right? Inspire and empower community growth, community development through the initiatives that we have, right? So youth development initiative, the second chance initiative, and then the mental health initiative, right? So it's just those three areas. And what people can look forward to, oh man, I don't think I should give it away all right now. Just
Well, we can tease it a
all
little
right.
bit, I think.
So think about it like this: we have a May the 3rd. We have a golf tournament coming up. So that golf tournament is going to cover Mental Health Awareness Month, specifically for first responders, veterans, and it's not. I mean, just specifically for first responder and veterans. And then later on, we have a charity gala coming up. We're still in the works of that one, finalizing that one, but that's going to be great. The charity gala is going to be.
Forward to that one.
Yeah,
That one's going to be exciting.
So for everybody that's looking for a black tie event out here in Temecula, Marietta area, whatever, in Riverside, stay tuned because we're going to have a charity gala where everybody can come out, and that one is going to be for men's health. June is Men's Health Awareness Month, so we're going to make sure we focus on men's health the way it's supposed to. Talk about those things that we don't talk about often.
Yeah.
So.
We have trouble talking about those things.
Oh, absolutely. We got a lot of stuff coming. I mean, just know that we are just getting started. And I don't think we ain't dying down no time soon.
No, in fact, I think things are kind of amping up a little bit.
Absolutely.
And it's getting to be really exciting. We've done a couple of events already, some that I was a part of, just new coming into the organization, but then you've also done some other things prior to that. We had a successful community back to school event.
Yep.
We gave out school supplies, backpacks. Tell us more about
that. That was our first event, actually. That was our very first. That was the inaugural. That was the introduction of My Brother's Keeper 54 Inc. to the Temecula community.
Yeah, we had Walmart out there as sponsors, EOS Fitness.
Yeah, it was Walmart, EOS, and then we had one of our second chance grantors, right, or grant winners, Prietos Tacos.
Right.
So yeah, that one was that one was dope. But guess this next one is gonna be even better. So around August time frame, y'all can look for us to have another back to school event. But this time the ideal is for it to be bigger and better than what it was, because that's what we're supposed to do, give back. As a public charity, that we're supposed to give back. So there's kids out there that don't have backpacks. And a lot of people think because we are in the area that we are, there's money. But trust and believe, there might be money out here, but there's always there's always an underserved community somewhere.
Well, there's still a need.
Absolutely, there's still a need.
And I think we've identified that.
Yep. And we're still going to do it.
Not only through our experience with the organization, but also through some of our own personal experience with regards to places that some of us actually work at, and understanding and knowing the demographics and the population of the people that we live around.
Absolutely.
We know that there's a need, so we're looking to try to fill those needs.
Absolutely, to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're doing good so far.
I think we are too. I'm excited. Wow. Well, you know what? I had a second question lined up for that, but I think we already covered it about what was to come and the things that we can expect to see going on in the future from My Brothers Keeper 54.
Great things.
I guess we need to dive a little bit more into. Can we share any personal experience or any stories, or how has My Brothers Keeper 54 impacted people within the community already? Is there a story or a situation that you can share that would help to show?
Oh man, I have a couple of them. All right, so one, we'll talk about Prietos Tacos, right?
Right.
So from an outside friend, outside of the organization, I met somebody, and because we were actually looking for a place to do the setup for the back to school event.
Right.
So it was like, okay, how can we make this happen? Come to find out, a friend of mine's, a mutual friend, we connected, and she explained to me like she knew somebody that did tacos, and I was like, all right, cool. Do they have a business, so forth and so on? And come to find out, they didn't have a business, so it's like, all right, cool. Well, I'll meet with them anyway and find out what's going on. So we meet up at Starbucks, and we have a conversation. And he was not a business, and in order for us to do business with him, he had to actually be an official business.
So he didn't have anything. He didn't have DBA.
Nope.
Food handler's card.
Nothing. No food handler's card. No DBA. Nothing. He was just doing stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. We had the conversation with him, and then I asked him. I said, hey, how serious are you about this? And he said, I'm very serious. This is what I consider my second chance. Pause right there. Because what nobody knows is that's where the title of the program came from. Second Chance Award.
See, I thought you came up with that all on your own.
That's where the title of the program came from. Because I know we wanted to give out grants, but it's like,
And so the Second Chance grant that you're referring to, more specifically, that is for what?
So the Second Chance Rebuilding Grant is for people the ages of 25, men or women, from the age of 25 to 45, it could be older, just depending, that are looking to establish or grow their own business, right? We are willing to donate up to $1,500 towards the start of that business. So going back to that story, I asked him, I said, hey, how serious are you? He was like, I'm very serious about this. This is my second chance to kind of actually get to what I'm trying to get to. I said, all right, cool. Meet with me tomorrow here. Just meet with me tomorrow. He said, all right, got it. So I came back, and then this is why we were in the midst of actually becoming who we were, right? I reached out to TJ, I reached out to Saint, and I was Torrance, the trusted advisors. Yeah. And I said, hey, what do you guys think about this? Because at the point, it was just us, right? It was 5 of us. My brother, the secretary, so we was able to vote it out. Long story short, I came to him, I said, hey, man, what do you guys think about this? This guy, he doesn't have a business, but he's looking to start his business. This is our opportunity to actually impact somebody's life and actually do exactly what we say we do as My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. Right. And he said, it was like, we with it. So he shows up to Starbucks the next day. We sit down, we talk. This time he brings his girl. We sit down, we talk about it. So I pulled up LegalZoom and I did everything. I had already knew how much the price was going to be because I did it the night before. Mm-hmm. And that day I went to the bank. I got a cashier's check, right? And I made sure the cashier's check was blank so I can write it in. So I just got a cashier's check and I asked him, I said, okay, I need you to do me a favor. So I was like, hey, how serious are you? He's like, I'm very serious. All right, cool. We got on LegalZoom. We pulled it up. We went through everything. I helped him fill out the DBA forms. And then it came time to pay. For me, I wanted to see if he was super serious. And I said, go ahead. I said, matter of fact, just do monthly payments. Just select monthly payments and just make the first payment. I just told him, I said, you can do monthly payments and make a payment. And he was like, okay. Not knowing me, right? From nobody.
Now, side story, you can't say anything around this man and not be serious about it.
Nope.
And he'll give you one time to say, are you serious? And if you say yes,
Stand by.
Stand by.
Stand by.
And I'll tell you more about that in the future podcast.
So he, yeah, man, he was like, I'm serious. I said, okay, pay. They paid. And it was, of course, when he made his first payment, it pops up, congratulations, all that. And he looked at me, he was like, all right, so what's next? And then I told him, I said, you trusted me. And I told him, I said, if you don't trust me, at least trust God. And I was like, man, the fact that you showed that you were serious and that you really wanted to do this, this is what we're going to do for you. We want you to work at the event. Unfortunately, you're not an actual business yet, so you can't. So I've already added you to our insurance. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to cut this check for you to pay for your DBA in full. So he looked at me and was like, are you serious? I was like, I'm dead serious, man. We're going to cut this check for you to pay your DBA in full. So I wrote the check. I wrote the amount out for him. I just wrote $400 because it was like only $3 something. So I gave him $400 to cover that and then to cover his to cover the food handler certification. So we did that, covered his food handler certification, and he showed up at the event. What it allowed him to do was show up at the event, and I made sure I told him, so you can make money, make sure you bring a tip jar. So he's going to show up. He just made tacos for us and handed them out for free. So the money he received that day was because people tipped him, and just know the community showed up and showed out for his tip jar. I'll say that because he came to us afterwards and was like, "I'm happy. Like, I appreciate you, man." So that's one story, man, that has resonated. We've done a lot, man. That story I say with the one with the Tenor Treat event where the young lady was selling candy. It was a young lady selling candy at Walmart. You guys seen the people selling candy and stuff in the streets, in the parking lots of these establishments. She was selling candy, and then she actually went up to one of the vendors that was in front of Walmart, and she actually said, I just want to sell candy. So they directed her to me, right? So she came to me and she was like, somebody told me to come and talk to you because I had candy for sale. And I said, what are you selling candy for? Are you a vendor? And she said, no, the security guard has already told me to leave once. I said, okay, yeah, let's not do that because I don't want you to get in trouble. Right. I said, but what are you selling candy for? And she said, I'm selling candy because I just want to get costumes for my kids. I said, how many kids do you have? She said, I got 2 kids. I want to get 2 costumes and a pumpkin so we can carve. So for people out there that think, right, like 2 costumes and a pumpkin, that's it. It's deeper than that, right? It was like, so I looked at her, I said, give me a minute. That's all you need? She said, yeah, that's all I need. So I was like, all right, give me a minute. Again, I go back to TJ and Saint, the trusted advisors, and I asked them, I said, hey, look, man, this is where we at. This is what she needs. What do y'all think? And they looked at me and was like, this is what we do, man. Right. So we went into Walmart with the idea to get her two costumes and a pumpkin. Now, shout out Coach Lee and the Walmart team because Coach Lee showed up. She sees me in the store. She said, Van, what are you doing? I said, oh, this lady was outside. We're about to get her 2 costumes and a pumpkin. Right. She said, all right, cool. I'll be back. She comes over with the blue bag, with the blue Walmart shopping bag. And she says, fill it up. It's on us.
Wow.
So I was like, okay,
See, and those are the kind of stories that we don't hear about. And
no,
when we say that there's a need, even in an area like Temecula, that's exactly what we're talking about.
absolutely.
Is those simple things that some of us kind of just, like, I mean, growing up, carving a pumpkin, getting a Halloween costume, I always got to experience that.
Right.
And yet there are families and there's communities that sometimes don't. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's huge. That something as simple as that probably just, I mean, it made an impact.
absolutely. The young lady left. She cried. She left crying like, I didn't expect this. Oh man, dude, it's so many. We
Well,
had,
I certainly wouldn't have expected. I didn't. I mean, even Walmart is a sponsor at some of our events, and
yeah.
I wouldn't expect that they would just come out and do that. That's
Walmart.
fantastic.
Walmart's been awesome, man. Honestly, I know everybody got what they got going on, but Walmart has been awesome,
Yeah.
especially in our mission. I can't talk about for everybody else, but I know in helping us execute our mission and grow our organization, they have been very vital, played a vital role, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
That was they were a huge help in our back to school event.
just know, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the stuff that we do, you'll probably only hear, if we do 10 things, you probably hear about 8 of them. Because the other 2 are things that we probably, I don't make videos about us doing things that we're supposed to do sporadically. Like when I went into the Walmart and just paid for, it was like 2 families. I paid for all their kids' back to school stuff. That was before our back to school event.
Right.
Like they looked at me like, are you serious? But you don't post stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? People's like, no, you should because
Well,
people need to see it.
There's some creators that do, and people sometimes feel that that's needed. But
Well, we will because people don't see what we
it's
do.
the intent behind it
Absolutely,
that I think makes the difference.
absolutely. And I don't know. I guess I'm just too humble, man. But there's a lot of stuff that we do in the background scenes that you guys you probably won't see. You'll probably have to hear about it. Unfortunately, because modesty plays a big part into it. You know, if you give a person something that's down on their luck or just is in a position, I mean, you got to think twice about shoving the camera in front of their face and then going to blast it in the social media world. I get it, and for money and stuff, I'm not against it because they're doing great things out there. All those content creators, it's just I haven't grew to be able to say, yeah, let's do that.
No.
So
Well, the other thing is that you don't know what that impact is going to be on that person.
absolutely,
And I think I think having a little bit of mystery behind it and not knowing and not putting it out there is kind of a cool thing too. Because if you think about it, if we're able to meet somebody where they're at, we're able to help them through whatever struggle it is that they're going through, and we 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 don't know the outcome,
yeah,
and that's okay. But then who knows? Maybe that one act that we did, we may find out a couple months, a couple years,
absolutely,
multiple years down the road, but maybe something comes back to us tenfold that we realize was a result of that one incident where we helped out somebody that day.
absolutely. Plant the
So,
seed. I'm all about it.
absolutely.
Plant the seed.
Yeah. So we covered quite a bit. We could probably sit here and talk for hours about the organization and everything that we have planned, and we could just rant back and forth. That would be a really long podcast episode, and I don't think anybody's going to watch that. But how can people get involved? Obviously, My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. is a nonprofit organization. We are only able to do as much as we are given. So how can people help support the organization? Whether through donation, volunteering, what are we looking at? How can people get involved?
Multiple ways. So the biggest thing that people can do is one, go to our website, right? www.mybrotherskeeper54.com. Now, make sure y'all understand it's My Brothers Keeper. It's not brothers. It's MYBROTHAS, no comma, keeper54.com.
And we'll put the link in the video description as well.
It'll be somewhere like right here.
And we actually, if you go onto the YouTube channel page, the website's on there at the same time.
So they can do that. Go to our website, and on our website it has multiple things, right? It has donate. You click that button, and it's going to take you to the PayPal link, and you can set up a donation. It allows you to set up a one-time donation. It allows you to set up a monthly donation. And like I tell people all the time, whether you give us $1, you give us $5, $100, or you just give us a prayer. It does not matter. What we give, what we receive from you guys in the community and just abroad allows us to execute what it is that we want to do, our mission and our vision, right? We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, tax exempt, which means tax deductions.
Yeah, tax time's coming up.
Right?
April's right around the corner. Get those last minute tax deductions.
That's it. And then we are identified as a 509A2 public charity. So that says we don't, everything that we make, all the money that we get in this organization comes from donations. Any and everything that we get comes from donations. And it's not to benefit us,
Right.
it's to benefit the public.
Yeah.
So they can do that. They can also go to get involved or take action on the website, right? If you go to take action on the website, it's going to have you fill out a form. Once you fill out that form, it's going to go to our email. I'm going to get that form. I'm going to get that response. And then I'll personally respond back to that. If I don't do it, then the secretary will do it. But we'll respond back that way. And we're just going to identify, I'll send you over. Actually, it takes them to a form now because I changed it. It'll take you to a Google form. Once you get a form, I'll send you the Google form that allows you to fill out what is it that you're trying to do. So the volunteer information, volunteer contact information, and it allows you to do that way. So when volunteer opportunities come up, we have a contact to reach you out of and go from there. Or you can just come to one of our events and always stop by our tent and access. You see our black shirts with the logos on it. You come and ask us, hey, how can I get involved? But come soon. We'll have a lot more volunteer opportunities for people.
Absolutely. And I think this next year for My Brothers Keeper 54 Inc. is going to be pivotal towards the success of the organization. And we're going to be sharing our journey on this channel. So if you want to support our efforts through donations, volunteering, that would be fantastic. We would greatly appreciate it. And also, if you want to be notified of new content on the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified the next time we upload an episode. Now, bonus question.
I'm ready.
What should somebody know first before deciding to start a nonprofit agency
Whew.
or a nonprofit organization?
That is a great question. Know what you want to. All right, first you have to know what it is that you want to do, right? There's a lot of causes out here. There's a lot of things that people want to start nonprofit organizations for, and they're all commendable. But one, have a plan, right? They always say the idea comes and then have a plan. I would say after the idea, have a plan and then develop and cultivate that plan before you execute. Do some research on the name that you're going to have. Make sure that it's not the only name. And if it is the only name, that's great. But if it's not the only name, how can you differentiate your organization from everybody else's organization? And just at the bare minimum, right? Have a mission and a vision, right? If you don't know what it is that you're trying to do, then people don't know what it is that they need to support. So you should be able to direct the community and what you want them to do and identify, right? There's a lot of people out there that want to support and help nonprofit organizations, but we don't know how we want people to support, right? So it's like, all right, so within establishing it, I say the basics, the most important things is one, have an idea and the name, mission, vision, but most importantly, I'll say most important out of all that stuff, is to have an identified team. An identified team. They say if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with somebody. Unfortunately, for a nonprofit organization, you have to have a team. At the bare minimum, you have to have a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. So that's 4 people. You can start, and then it allows you to start the nonprofit. I'm not a professional at this. I just know what I did to establish our nonprofit organization.
Right.
So that's that. If you have at least that, and then your mission and your vision and a basic idea of what your nonprofit organization is and what it's going to be, then you're good, right? And then of course do your research, because there's a lot of tax codes out there, right? Like you have 501c17 or C2. Like there's a lot of things, right? Like it breaks down a lot. So I would definitely say do your research. That's not a easy
the fun part of the
question. Oh no, man, the business is never the fun part. Doing the thing is the fun part. The business, however, it's monotonous, but as you get established, it becomes better because once people start to see that you're on business and you're good, like right now in Candid, we have a silver, transparency seal, right? The next two is gold and then platinum. We're working on gold. Once our audit is done, and for this year, then we go to gold and then we're platinum. Like we have everything else to do to be platinum, and that just helps your transparency, right? The more transparent you are as a nonprofit organization, the more people begin to like you and actually understand, okay, this is an organization that we can actually give to because they're very transparent and there's no secrets. I'm not trying to get rich over here. I'm not. I'm good enough on my own. I'm not. This is not me trying to get wealthy. This is us giving back to the community because people need it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, 100%.
to that one, yeah, man. Make sure plan, mission, vision, but most importantly, a team. And when I say a team, people that's going to hold you accountable, not people that are just going to be like, yeah, okay, if you want to do it, let's do it. A team. The people that's going to not just agree with you, disagree. Trust me, these guys don't always agree with me. And they always tell me.
I think that's probably a really important
It is.
idea.
It is.
To have a team of people that are going to be honest with you.
Absolutely. That's what makes it better. That's what makes it better.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Well, this episode's been fun. We are going to definitely be doing some more podcasts, and we're going to be doing some more interviews with the other board members of the organization. And look forward to seeing videos of the events that we're going to be doing, especially the golf event, which is going to be held at the Pachanga Hotel and Casino. That's going to be fun. And we're going to be getting some video behind the scenes on that one. So we'll be uploading that. And yeah, I got some exciting things planned.
Yeah, we do.
And we got a couple.
I'm looking forward to it.
We got a couple of people in our organization that are working on some big things right now, and we want to be able to share them here because it's the members and the people that are involved in the organization that are helping to support them, to drive them, and to push them to achieving those goals.
Absolutely.
And we want to share it with you guys because our hope is that we'll inspire you guys to also be able to achieve your own goals. So, yeah.
Be the change.
Be the change. So we'll see you all in the next one.
Peace.